Señor Payroll by William E. Barrett. Larry and I were junior engineers in the gas plant, which means that we were clerks. Anything that could be classified as paperwork came to the flat double desk, across which we faced each other. The main office downtown sent us a bewildering array of orders and rules that were to be put into effect. Junior engineers were beneath the notice of everyone except the Mexican laborers at the plant. To them, we were the visible form of a distant, unknowable paymaster. We were Señor Payroll. Those Mexicans were great workmen. The aristocrats among them were the stokers, big men who worked Herculean 8-hour shifts in the fierce heat of the retorts. They scooped coal with huge shovels and hurled it with uncanny aim at tiny doors. The coal streamed out from the shovels like black water from a high-pressure nozzle and never missed the narrow opening. The stokers worked stripped to the waist, and there was pride and dignity in them. Few men could do such work, and they were the few. The company paid its men only twice a month, on the 5th and on the 20th. To a Mexican, this was absurd. What man with money will make it last 15 days? If you hoarded money beyond the spending 3 days, he was a miser. And when, senor, did the blood of Spain flow in the veins of misers? Hence, it was the custom for our stokers to appear every 3rd or 4th day to draw the money due to them. There was a certain elasticity in the company rules, and Larry and I sent the necessary forms to the main office and received an advance against a man's paycheck. Then, one day, downtown favored us with a memorandum. There have been too many abuses of the advanced against wages privilege. Hereafter, no advanced against wages will be made to any employee who's in a case of a genuine emergency. We had no sooner posted the notice when in came stoker Juan Garcia. He asked for an advance. I pointed to the notice. He spelled it through slowly, then said, "What does this mean, this genuine emergency?" I explained to him patiently that the company was kind and sympathetic, but that it was a great nuisance to have to pay wages every few days. If someone was ill, or if money was urgently needed for some other good reason, then the company would make an exception to the rule. Juan Garcia turned his hat over and over slowly in his big hands. "I do not get my money. Next payday, Juan, on the 20th. He went out silently, and I felt a little ashamed of myself. I looked across the desk at Larry. He avoided my eyes. In the next hour, 2 other stokers came in, looked at the notice, had it explained, and walked solemnly out. Then no more came. What we did not know was that Juan Garcia, Pedro Mendoza, and Francisco Gonzalez had spread the word, and that every Mexican in the plant was explaining the order to every other Mexican. To get money now, the wife must be sick. There must be medicine for the baby. The next morning, Juan Garcia's wife was practically dying. Pedro Mendoza's mother would hardly last the day. There was a veritable epidemic among children, and for the variety, there was one sick father. We always suspected that the old man was really sick. No Mexican would otherwise have thought of him. At any rate, nobody paid Larry and me to examine private lives. We made out our forms with an added line describing the genuine emergency. Our people got paid. That went on for a week. Then came a new order, curt and to the point. Hereafter, employees will be paid only on the 5th and on the 20th of the month. No exceptions will be made except in the cases of employees leaving the service of the company. The notice went up on the board, and we explained its significance gravely. "No, Juan Garcia, we cannot advance your wages. It is too bad about your wife and your cousins and your aunts, but there is a new rule." Juan Garcia went out and thought it over. He thought out loud with Mendoza and Gonzalez and Ayala, and then in the morning he was back. "I am quitting this company for a different job. You pay me now?"
We argued that it was a good company and that it loved its employees like children. But in the end, we paid off because Juan Garcia quit. And so did Gonzalez, Mendoza, Obregón, Ayala, and Ortez, the best stokers, men who could not be replaced. Larry and I looked at each other, and we both knew that neither of us had been bowling for downtown to win this duel. It was a blue day. In the morning, however, they were all back in line. With the utmost gravity, Juan Garcia informed me that he was a stoker looking for a job. No dice, Juan. I warned you. His eyes looked straight into mine without a flicker. There is some mistake, senor. I am Manuel Hernandez. I work as the stoker in Pueblo, in Santa Fe, in many places. I stared at him back, remembering the sick wife and the babies without medicine, the mother-in-law in the hospital, the many resignations and the rehirings. I knew that there was a gas plant in Pueblo and that there wasn't any in Santa Fe. But who was I to argue with the man about his own name? A stoker is a stoker. So I hired him. I hired Gonzalez, too, who swore that his name was Carade, and Ayala, who had shamelessly become Smith. 3 days later, the resigning was started again. Within a week, our payroll read like a history of Latin America. Everyone was on it. Lopez and Plogon, Villa, Diaz, Batista, Gomez, and even San Martin and Bolivar. Finally, Larry and I, growing weary of staring at familiar faces and writing unfamiliar names, went to the superintendent and told him the whole story. He tried not to grin and said, "Damn nonsense." The next day, the orders were taken down. We called our most prominent stokers into the office and pointed to the board. No rules anymore. The next time we hire you, hombres, come in under the names you like best, because that's the way you are going to stay on the box. They looked at us, and they looked at the board, and then, for the first time in the long duel, their teeth flashed white. "Si, senores,"